What's up, y'all? Episode 127 of Shoebooty Sports coming at you Tuesday night. Both hosts are back this week. This is your host speaking, Graham Powell, co-host over there on the other screen. Say what's up, Brad.
What's happening?
Did I even introduce you? Bradley Brown, co-host over there. I can't remember if I
Yeah,
did or
you did.
not. Okay, well, it's I haven't sipped my Pepsi Zero yet, so not a sponsor. Just That's my caffeine kick from time to time in the evening. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about. Let's get to the show. First, quick shout out to our sponsor, Rhino Races. Ladies and gentlemen, Shoebooty Sports is presented by Rhino Races. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, a marathon, and the Rhino Ultra. You can sign up for one or all 5 of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience. Track it with your fitness app of choice. Screenshot your results as proof of completion. Submit that screenshot to rhinoraces.com under the submit results section. Once your results are verified by Rhino Races staff, your award will be shipped to you by mail. Also, check out their gear section for t shirts, wristbands, decals, and more. That's rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series, and you can find us, Shoebooty Sports, on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on X at Shoebooty Sports. Okay, so big coaching news coming out of, well, the University of Kentucky and the University of Arkansas. John Calipari is going to be the next head coach for the University of Arkansas, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Wow. Let me just start. Nothing's been officially announced, but I mean, Cal has said his goodbyes. I've seen, uh, I believe, images up from at Bud Walton, I think, of Calipari in a red jacket with his name photo there. It's all but done. I don't know
I,
when
I
it's
hear the press conference is tomorrow at 5.
okay. And a lot of people, I mean, Twitter X, it's going to do Twitter stuff. It's weird nobody's announced anything yet. Well, there's a national championship game going on. Kind of other stuff happening. And even on the day of the national championship game, the top story on ESPN was John Calipari leaving Kentucky for the University of Arkansas. One, where were you when you heard the news originally? If anything, the rumors. Where were you when you heard that? And it wasn't long after that that there was real traction to it.
I think I'd just gotten back to my apartment and read your text, man. That was the first I've heard of it. I was kind of dead to the world uh for that. So yeah, that was the first I heard of it was your text.
Okay. Yeah, so it was um I thought it was just, Twitter being Twitter and just dumb stuff being tweeted. But Wes
Yeah.
Moore, a sports reporter, on television here in Central Arkansas, a credible, guy, put it out there on Twitter saying he expects Calipari to be named the next head coach. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, this is a legitimate guy here tweeting this. It's not going, this isn't just a straight BS. So I dive more into it, and I believe as I sent, I don't know if I sent it to you. I know I sent it to my dad, saying apparently John Calipari is in serious talks with Arkansas about being the next head coach. And then, sure enough, maybe 30 minutes later, boom, on ESPN's homepage, there it is. It's like, okay, there's proof that this is real. And then we find out that night it's happening. This is Sunday night, by the way. This is after the most watched national championship game on the women's side, topping last year's LSU Iowa game. That would be Iowa, South Carolina. On the eve of the men's national championship game, boom, this is the top story, even going into Monday morning and afternoon. And yeah, John Calipari is going to be the head coach of the University of Arkansas. I was, I didn't have the best day either. I know I know you've had a rough weekend and week prior to that. We don't have to get into that unless you want to. But I wasn't having the best day, and that just just completely turned my mood completely around. I was like, what in the world? I mean, that gave me just a bolt of lightning energy that went through me there. Like, wow, this is really happening. So basically, what led to this, right? I mean, Calipari had some disappointing early exits in the tournament. The
Yeah.
UK fan base essentially ran him out. As essentially ran him off. Cal's like, I'm not the coach for this. This isn't how this works with me. Like, you don't
Hmm.
run me off. And so, but the money had to be right for him to leave elsewhere. The program had to be a program where you could win a national championship, and you had to have some NIL backing. Shout out Johnny Tyson, uh, CEO of Tyson Chicken. Those of you
Yeah.
not knowing what I'm talking about, which is which operates out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. Apparently, Johnny Tyson's friends with Coach Cal, and he got on the phone. He made this happen. He's the guy that said, "I'm all in on this. Let's get this deal done. Let's get Cal to Fayetteville." And it's happening. Like, it's really happening. What's the mood up there in Northwest Arkansas?
I'm guessing, it's I don't know, everybody's pretty damn excited up here. Um,
Well,
yeah, I haven't had a
You've gone outside. When did you get back to Northwest Arkansas?
Sunday.
Okay, so right when everything's going
And
on. You've been outside since
yeah,
then. I mean, what's the
yeah.
energy like
Well,
from
only went and played golf in the eclipse. That's about the only time I went outside. So I really haven't had the chance to talk to any of my friends up here and see how they felt about it. But I mean, I don't know why anyone wouldn't be excited about, to hear that news. I mean,
I feel like you could go to the gas station and get a drink and people you're gonna see it, you know, uh,
yeah.
on people's faces, whether it's dancing in the street, just mood,
I haven't seen anyone
heightened
dancing in the
mood
street.
yet. Maybe wait till the press conference tomorrow, maybe then. But anyway, yeah, Coach Cal, John Calipari, Hall of Fame basketball coach, going to be the next head coach for the University of Arkansas, at least for the next 5 years. He'll be in his 70s, I believe, by then. But yeah, this is huge. I mean, this is huge. And Arkansas. I mean, now Eric Musselman left the U of A to take the USC job,
Yeah.
and I mean, Muss, to his credit, I mean, made the Hogs relevant again. Back to back Elite Eights, then a Sweet 16 the following year. Had his first losing season this past season. I believe they went 16-17.
Yeah.
It was weird. It's a team that beat Purdue, the national runner up, in their exhibition opener, beat them, and then this same Arkansas team beat Duke at home. Duke, who got to didn't they get to the Elite Eight
Believe
this
so.
year?
Yeah.
Yeah, got to the Elite Eight, beat them at home, and then it was just
Well,
all
yeah.
downhill shortly after all that.
Almost beat Bama at their place. If, we would have gotten a foul call or been able to complete a dunk, we would have won that one. So,
Yeah, and I mean, just the team just fell off a cliff after that. Was
yeah.
a bottom tier, was at the bottom of the league. I think they ended up with maybe the third worst record in the
Yeah.
SEC. Awful, just an absolutely awful season. Uh, and on top of that, well, not only did everybody start hitting the transfer portal, I mean, Musk basically left the cupboard just completely empty. Like, I understand. At first,
Yeah.
I said, yeah, at first I didn't necessarily agree with the criticism he was getting, especially after Cal was hired. But then it was like, well, Musk did leave the cupboard completely bare
Yep.
and was, I mean, just left. I mean,
Yeah.
he had all but lost. It became clear that he had all but lost. Well, he did. He lost a team. He lost that team and everybody on that roster. And so he was out. He was out and was perfectly okay apparently with just leaving Arkansas as a dumpster fire.
Yeah. And not recruiting any in-state talent for the last year either. So
No. So I get it. I get the backlash. I mean, he said some nice things about Cal getting the job and how good of a job Arkansas is, but you were quick to bolt. But this is a clear upgrade as far as just looking at the resume of the two.
yeah.
I mean, Calipari is a national champion, a Hall of Fame coach, got UMass to the Final Four, got Memphis to the national championship game. What
If only they could have hit free throws.
would have been undefeated? Would have
yeah.
finished the season undefeated, and then wins a national championship in dominant fashion with Anthony Davis in Kentucky. Uh, in 2012, got to 4 Final Fours. Uh, I think 6 SEC championships, both regular season and tournament. And yeah, it was a great run at Kentucky, whether fans want to say it was or wasn't. I mean, yeah, it was disappointing the last few seasons.
Yeah.
If anything, Arkansas fans, we got to be saying a big thank you to that Golke guy from I can't from Oakland. Yeah, I was like I can't even remember who
Yeah.
they played now. That had a lot to do with it. So another exit. I mean, Cal wasn't going to get fired. He had a $30+ million buyout. They weren't going to fire him,
Got a
but
lifetime contract, right?
yeah, a lifetime contract. So he wasn't going to get fired, but he had clearly had enough of the backlash from the fan base. So I'm going to go somewhere that's a great place to live, a place that I can win. I'll have NIL money and I can get paid like I deserve to be paid. And he found a new home in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So it's I'm sure this will be Cal's last stop, but I mean this is huge. I still can't really believe it's real. And
Have
it's
you seen the picture floating around with him photoshopped in the Arkansas gear?
I did not, or I have
It's
not.
it's looks so weird, but it's,
What do you mean the
it's just
Arkansas
crazy.
gear? Just like the
It somebody took a picture from him of this season on the sideline in his University of Kentucky jacket, and they just changed the color of the jacket and put a Razorback logo on it.
I believe I
Just
have. Yeah,
Photoshop. It
with
just
like the
looks
red
very
jacket.
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's different. It is different, but it's one I can most definitely get used to. Cal had the number 2 recruiting class for this next season at Kentucky. One of those players has already decommitted from the University of Kentucky. I know Cal is working to pull those guys to Fayetteville. We'll
yeah.
see how many of them he can. I'm sure a lot of them, especially in this day and age, are waiting to see what they can make. But there's going to be plenty of opportunity for money to be made for players, for a lot of players, and Cal doesn't have to worry about talking to any players about whether or not they should stay or hit the transfer portal because there are currently no players on the Razorback basketball roster.
Got one, don't we?
No. Who are you thinking of?
Thought we had that one white boy.
I don't know that what the walk on.
Yeah.
I don't even know who
We
you're
have no
talking about.
scholarship players. We have no scholarship players.
Yeah, I mean Pinion went to Arkansas State, which he wasn't any good. I mean, no disrespect, but he just wasn't. He wasn't any. He
Yeah.
wasn't an SEC player. Trevin Brazil was the last guy that I knew of, and he's hired an agent, and he's going to at least attempt to go to the NBA draft.
Yeah,
Um,
he tanked his draft stock this whole season.
he did. He had an awful season. He was not used in any way that he needed to be used. I put part of that on Musselman. I put part of it on him. I think that I don't know. I think he could. I think there's a spot for a guy like that in the NBA. To be honest, I mean he's not going to be a superstar or anything like that, but he could
No.
go in and be like kind of what I don't want to say what Jordan Walsh would be for the Celtics because Walsh is a hustler. He's a hustler, a defender.
Yeah.
Um,
I think he's a
he,
much better player than yeah,
yeah,
Brazil.
he's a much better player than Brazil. So I don't want to say that they're comparable in that way, but my point is he could go in and be like a type of role player for a team. Somebody can find something, a spot for him to do something, but he's not going to go high, and he may go undrafted. I don't know what his draft stock is,
That'd
but
be
he's
my
not a
vote.
first rounder. Yeah, he's not a
Yeah.
first rounder for sure. But anyway, um, out with the old, in with the new. Uh,
Yeah.
this is
Just
gonna be fun to watch over the next several months.
wondering what I'm gonna do with my Must Bus T-shirt. They only got to wear 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, hang on to it. I mean, it would those were 3 of those years were really good years. So I mean, hang
Yeah.
on to it, but it's gonna go at the back of the closet for sure because we're gonna have I believe it was I saw a shirt already that was "Welcome to Cala Paradise" with a hog on it. So uh not bad for this early on.
I
We're
guess.
we're
Yeah.
going to yeah, we're gonna see some. I'm just looking forward to the names and the talent level that we're about to get. I mean,
Yeah.
5-star this 5-star guy has committed. This 5-star guy. It's gonna be wild over these next 5 years, and I'm here for it. Arkansas, with the hiring of John Calipari, officially became a basketball school. Just like that. The Razorbacks are once again a basketball school, like they were in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, Arkansas basketball is on its way back, and I'm here for the ride. This is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so let's just put it out there. Let's say he's here for 5 years. Let's just say he's here for
Yeah.
5 years. If you're betting, does Cal win a national championship? Let's just start there.
In 5 years,
In
man, I
five
don't
years,
know.
you know Cal's gonna have a
That's a
chip on his
tall order,
shoulder.
man.
He's gonna have a
Oh
chip
yeah.
on his shoulder coming into this, but he's going to have to make adjustments to how he's put teams together because this clearly hasn't worked. 5 freshmen against veteran teams has shown that it's not going to work. Now it's going to be exciting and it's going to win games and it's going to get you into the tournament. It might even win you some SEC championships. Hasn't proven to be successful in recent years in the big dance. So I think a national championship is a stretch. I'm going to say no. But do I think the Razorbacks can win an SEC regular season and tournament championship? I will say
Yes.
yes to both of those.
Yeah. I'll
But
agree with you on that.
but yeah, you advance to the Sweet 16 a couple of times. I mean, get the Razorbacks back to the Sweet 16 a couple of times, and this isn't a 5-year stretch. I'm looking at this very realistically. Get the Hogs to the Sweet 16 a couple of times, win an SEC championship, regular season and tournament. Doesn't have to be in the same year. I'd say and obviously just have a winning record. Get to the tournament every year, all 5 seasons. I think that's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good
Yeah.
5-year run. Of course, we want greater than that. We'd love a national championship. But if that's what we get for 5 years and we're relevant and we have top 5 recruiting classes over the next 5 years, I am happy with that. I'm good with that. I'll take it.
Yeah. All for it.
All right. So uh welcome to the University of Arkansas, Fayetteville, Arkansas, John Calipari and family. Really looking forward to this. By the way, did you see the video of him walking his dog or just trying to walk his dog and being asked if he's going to take any questions? He's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to walk my dog." And I love that his dog had a stroller.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that the dog had a stroller. And one Kentucky guy tweeted, I don't know if he's a fan or a reporter or something. He said something along the lines of the audacity of Calipari to uh, go outside and go outside and walk his dog in public when he knows that reporters want to ask him questions, something like that. I was like, yeah, the audacity for this man to want to walk his dog around his neighborhood where he lives.
Yeah.
Man, I really can't see why he'd want to leave Kentucky. and
You
that
see all the
fan base.
small, you see all the small houses in that neighborhood.
Yeah, he's really rubbing it in people's
Yeah,
faces by walking around his neighborhood and letting his dog go and pee and take a dump. What a jerk,
yeah,
man! I don't understand why he'd want to leave Kentucky. Crazy stuff. But anyway, yeah. Um, everybody seems to say they're saying it's a win-win for Arkansas and Kentucky.
yeah.
Uh, gives gives both programs a reset. I get that argument, but I don't know who you get if you're Kentucky. Uh, everybody's talking
You,
Dan Hurley, but Hurley in his post game interview, like immediately after, you could tell he was saying, "I'm not going anywhere." He's like,
why
"We have
would
the
he want to go anywhere?
yeah,"
Yeah,
and he said he's like, "No, we have the resources here to be successful at UConn." And as soon as he said that, I was like, "He's not going anywhere."
no,
And yeah, why would you leave that program? I mean, it's UConn, man. I mean, they're a blue blood as well, and back to back national championships. The first time that's happened since that great Florida team, who had
yeah,
everybody back from that team. This UConn team was missing its three best players from last season, and still got back and won comfortably and in dominant fashion. And I wasn't at all surprised with how the game turned out. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I don't know who Kentucky's going to go after and get. I mean, they're saying
it's
Billy Donovan wasn't around during this NIL and transfer portal stuff. He's not going to want to deal with this unless the price is right. But I would not think that he would want to come back and deal with this, the Wild West that is the NIL and transfer portal. Do you?
n- probably not, man. I mean, he is in the NBA right now. I really don't see him coming back, to college for the Kentucky job. But I really think they should go after this hot new coach, Chad Morris. Think he'd be good for Kentucky.
I don't know how good he would be at basketball, but we'll see. He can't do much worse than he did at football. Uh, you said you don't think Donovan would come back for Kentucky. I just if you're not coming back for Kentucky, I mean, in fairness to Kentucky, that's as good of a college
Well,
coaching job
I
as
meant
there
for
is.
college ball. I mean,
Yeah, there you go. That would be more accurate, I would think. Just because you don't want to deal with the NIL and transfer portal and all that, I wouldn't want to. Um, when you're used to the way Billy Donovan ran things the last time around at Florida, so I don't see it happening, but I mean, if Kentucky makes him an offer he can't refuse that the Chicago Bulls ownership isn't going to match, then sure, maybe.
yeah,
And I mean, let's face it, the Bulls haven't been relevant. I mean, they're not winning anything. So I mean,
yeah,
maybe Billy Donovan wants to taste winning again, and I mean, he's going to get a re-energized fan base if he does step into that role. So I mean, there is an argument to be made and an upside to taking that job, but we'll see what happens. Either way, uh, I'm happy for the Hogs. Woo pig on that, and yeah, this is good. This is going to be a fun ride for the next 5 years.
yeah.
Okay, let's go back to UConn, the men's national championship game. It was competitive for the first half.
First half, yeah,
It was exactly the way I thought it would go. I figured Edie would give them problems early. I figured at halftime, UConn, they're so well coached, they'd make adjustments, they'd figure it out. They're undefeated, and gosh, I believe under Dan Hurley every time they led at halftime, which they did last night. And because they're just so well coached, they're going to make adjustments. They're going to figure out how to defend you, how to score on you. That was no different last night. It was UConn last tournament that in the second half last night where it just wasn't even close, and it was just a comfortable victory for UConn. That's how it
yeah.
felt to me. And that's how the game was. I mean, that's how it turned out to be. UConn just they dominated, and this is
I just
a
want to know why Purdue just gave up on the three ball. Like it was just Edie over and over and over. Like twos don't beat threes.
no, but that's been their bread and butter all season. I mean, he's been an easy bucket. all
He
year.
has been, yeah.
And then you hit the three when, it's when it's there. But UConn defends the perimeter so well, and they made Edey work for everything he had. I mean, he was missing those shots that he normally makes in the second
Yeah.
half. I mean, he was worn out, and
He
Edey's
missed
a
one
guy
from
that
what, 2 feet? I mean,
he missed several from that, but from his range, that close
yeah.
up range. But I mean, and Edey's in shape. It's not like he's a guy that has to come out every, you know, uh, I don't know, 5 minutes or whatever it is. He's a guy that he doesn't come out of the game. So I mean, he's used to that. But he was being defended very well last night. He had to work for everything he got, and that will, no matter how good a shape you're in, that's going to catch up to you. So men's game went exactly like I thought it would. So no surprise there. Nothing exciting, but it's very effective.
Yeah.
And it's old school. I mean, UConn's a very old school program with how they play, how they're coached. It's very effective. And that's all I can say. I don't think UConn's going anywhere for a while. Dan Hurley's figured it out there at UConn. So we'll see what happens in the years to come. But I mean, they'll be right back in the mix next year. But um, let's touch up on the women's game now. Uh, Iowa, South Carolina. Iowa got off to a hot start. How much of that game did you see?
Uh, about 90% of it, I would say.
I watched the entire thing. Made it a point to, and um, yeah, I was surprised early. Iowa came out red hot. Caitlin Clark had 21 points in the first quarter, or was it 18? I believe she had
18.
18. Yeah, 18 in the first quarter, and but I did not think that would sustain. I didn't think they would sustain that. Not against South Carolina. And of course, South Carolina comes back, takes the lead by halftime. I believe that they were up what, like three?
Yep.
Yeah, three at the half. A big steal from Raven Johnson, transition layup to end the half. So that was a nice momentum swing for them. A nice play for her, who had a terrible game the last time they played, but it was also Iowa's strategy. They basically said when they met in the Final Four last year, Raven Johnson is the player that they said we're just going to let you shoot, and because they knew she wasn't a good shooter, um, and it proved to be effective because you had to have Iowa players down inside to rebound with those South Carolina bigs. It worked as best as it could last year. It worked well enough to get the win last year. What confused me is why in the world Iowa did not do the same thing this season or this time around the championship game. Because Raven Johnson, yeah, her goal percentage has gone up since last season, but not that much. She's still in the 30%, at 30%. And I mean, her shot was just as broke Sunday. I mean, it was every open look she had was off. I mean, it was brick after brick. I mean, like she defended well, but I don't understand why Iowa didn't go into the game with the same strategy. Because the story of the game was they just got out rebounded. I think
Oh yeah, man.
it was like what 48-25 of the rebounds, something along those lines in South Carolina's favor. And like Don Staley and South Carolina have figured it out. They have figured out how to build a championship team and a winning team at South Carolina. Let's go get the biggest bigs that we can get,
Yeah.
and let's just out rebound everybody. And when you have 3 and 4 shots per possession to the other team's 1-2 max, you're going to win games, and you're going to win a lot of them. And that's why South Carolina is undefeated. Um, yeah, it's just, I mean, that's the math. Just out rebound the other team. You're going to have more shots per possession. You're going to limit the other team's shots per possession. If you're South Carolina, go get some guards that can defend. Hey, Raven Johnson, go get a couple of shooters. I can't remember her first name, but I loved her last name, Pow Pow, the South Carolina guard. And yeah, just get you a couple shooters. I think is it Tessa Johnson? Is that her name? She had a really good game. Yeah, just go get you a couple of guards, go get some athletic guards, a couple that can shoot, and just get the biggest bigs that we can get. And yeah, and just out rebound the other team. That's the formula. It's honestly, it's ugly. It's kind of boring, but it's
Yep.
highly effective. It is highly effective, and I would do the exact same thing if I were Don Staley. And kudos to Don Staley for giving Caitlin Clark props too after the game for elevating the women's game, bringing viewers, which clearly has been the case. I have a lot, you can't help but have a lot of respect for Don Staley. Wasn't big on the trans athletes argument. That could
Yeah.
be not too. I mean, we're gonna go there, I guess, but I don't agree with that. But at the same time, I don't even know if Don Staley agrees with it. I just feel like it's something she just wanted to say to not be a distraction. And I almost feel like if I were in her position, I would stay with that argument and even push it to like an extreme, if anything, just to be a troll. Like, yeah, let's combine and let's just have an intramural game now. Let's just combine both leagues, men and women's, and I would have the most outlandish arguments, but just to the point where it would I don't know it would have people talking, but it would almost be funny to me internally. But anyway, I don't didn't agree with that, but loved everything else she said, and the whole, especially during the Final Four. Of course, a lot of people were talking about Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, and uh, Taurasi in particular, saying she'd
Yeah.
take Paige Beckers over Caitlin Clark in the draft, going out of her way to say, yeah, you look great against 18-year-olds, but you're about to come into the league with, women that have been playing professional ball for a long time. On top of that, Brianna Stewart from UConn saying Caitlin Clark needs to win a championship to be considered great. All just weird stuff. And
Yeah. They're all just jealous.
I mean, that's
And
what it is. It's jealousy, it's pettiness, and well, a couple things. One, like you're taking a dump on the player that's going to bring viewers and therefore more money into your game at the next level of WNBA. And you're doing everything. This is going to be the biggest star your sport has ever seen, your league has ever seen. And you're doing everything you can to tear her down rather than build
yep.
her up. It's weird. And the whole women empowering women thing has completely been thrown out the window for this one, right? It's an interesting thing to see, but it and here's the other thing. Talking about you have to be win a championship to be considered great. All those players, Tarasi, Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart, they all went to UConn, a
Yep.
program that was Alabama football on steroids when it came
Yeah.
to women's basketball.
Above and beyond everybody else.
Yeah, there's nothing that like it's not that impressive to be the best player in the country, Brianna Stewart, Tarasi, and then go join a program that has 25-star players and that are all going to go play in the WNBA and go win a championship.
Yeah. Go sleepwalk to a championship.
Yeah, when you're winning first round games 88-22 or whatever it was,
Yeah.
I'm being slightly sarcastic, but some were very close to that, the
Yep.
margin. And not just in the first round. That's not impressive, and that's why nobody was viewing your sport then, because there was nothing impressive about it. I mean, it was just there was no parity. Caitlin Clark taking Iowa to back-to-back national championship games and falling short is more impressive to me than joining a UConn program that was as dominant as we've ever seen and winning even 4 championships in a row as
Yeah.
Breonna Stewart did. I mean, it's nuts to me to get up there and say that she has to win a championship to be great when that's the path you took to get that championship. Yeah, she could have went to UConn, scored 1,000, 1,500 less points, and be a 3-time national champion right now. But she didn't. She built an a program that's slightly above average at best. I would say average. I mean, look
Yeah.
at the South Carolina players compared to the Iowa players. I mean, it was night and day as far as talent. You could just look at them and say that team's going to win. That's South Carolina. I mean, just taller, more athletic. Um, it wasn't even close, and that was a competitive game until the fourth quarter. So, uh, it's more impressive what Caitlin Clark did at Iowa than going and joining the bluest of blue bloods for women's basketball at UConn and winning a championship that way.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll close on this. The WNBA draft, we don't have to wait long for it. It's next Monday. Yeah, next Monday, April 15th. That's wild, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Had no clue whenever their draft was held.
Yeah, it's next Monday, April 15th, same day as the Boston Marathon, by the way. And the season, we don't have to wait long for the season to start either. It's May 3rd, and shocker. The opening game will be the Indiana Fever, who have the #1 overall pick. It'll be against Dallas. I don't even know their mascot. I don't even know what Dallas's mascot is. I only know the Indiana's because they have the #1 pick. That's the Caitlin Clark effect, like it or not. But I'm sure I'll tune into that. Like, I mean, I'm going to check it out, and a lot of other people are too. But all right, anything to add before we get out of here, Brad?
It's
Like I said, a
Masters
lot to
week.
talk about. Yeah,
Yeah.
Masters week. I believe Tiger's saying he wants to compete, right?
Yeah. He's out there practicing. He's been out there this week, so he'll be in it.
And when does it start?
Starts Thursday.
All right, so Masters, Boston Marathon next Monday. We got a lot to talk about next week, but until then, we're going to get out of here. This is Graham Powell.
Brother Brown.
Deuces, y'all.
Peace.